You're watching the reaction video for the new M2Y Tier 7 heavy tank, the new American heavy tank line. And yeah, this is, by the way, my first game anyway. I tried to show you some reaction video. First of all, the look of this tank is absolutely amazing. I like the way it looks. It looks aggressive. From front, the turret looks aerodynamic. It looks great. I like the way it looks. Also, it has this huge tumor on its head that's also known as the blister cupola, because it looks like a blister. Actually, it looks more like a pimple, to be honest with you, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to discuss a lot about this blister cupola. And as you can see, it's already taken a hit but took no damage. Apparently the blister cupola is a huge weak spot on this tank. You can actually pan it with standard shells, even in tier 6 tanks. As you can see, the Pollack is absolutely demolishing me. This being my first game, I didn't realize this at the moment, but actually you need to try to defend that blister cupola, and you do that by pointing your gun up in the sky when you are approaching, and then when you're ready to shoot, you lower the gun down and go into scope mode and try to hit your enemies. But by the time you lower your gun and wait for your dispersion to come down and fully aim on your target, you might have taken a hit on your blister cupola anyway. So I don't know exactly how you want to defend in this tank, but after a couple of games in this tank, I realized that if I was to try to get the maximum performance out of this tank, I think the best way to do it is to side scrape instead of trying to use the 10 degrees of hull down capabilities to maximize the performance potential of this tank. This tank, of course, does 240 average damage. It does not have two guns that you can choose from, a DPM gun and a alpha, big alpha gun. This is the tier 7. It only has one good gun, and this one is it. 202 penetration on the standard shells, and 242 on the premium shells. Of course, I'm try-harding and firing almost 100% premium shells. Why is this guy blocking me? Get out of my way. But yeah, for my first game, I was pretty happy and pretty impressed with it. And I'll be honest with you, this is my favorite tank out of the entire line of new heavy tanks coming from the American line. And I say this not because this tank is super strong or because it is a great damage dealer or whatever, but I feel like this tank is not too great, but it's not shit. You can play this tank. It is doing what it is supposed to be doing, what it is meant to be doing. Sometimes you're gonna have terrible games because you get caught out in positions that is not favorable to it. Sometimes that blister cupola, it's like a huge pimple that everybody wants to pop. So sometimes you do terribly in this tank, sometimes you do pretty well in this tank. I'd say this tank is pretty balanced, and what I did like about this tank was its side scraping capabilities. I did enjoy it. Reload time is pretty decent. The dispersion, although is bad, and the moving dispersion is not good, but if you took the time to aim and let your gun settle down the dispersion before you pull the trigger, it is actually not a bad gun. You can do 240 damage, which is not too bad. Not the greatest, but I don't have any problems with it. As you can see, the equipment I'm running is just the hardening vertical stabilizer rammer, and I've doubled up on the vertical stabilizers with my directives. And for a first game doing over 2000 plus damage, I am pretty happy with it. So my first impression of the tank was actually pretty good. I kind of enjoyed it, but I did realize that the blister cupola was a huge weak point on this tank, and if you wanted to do really well in this tank, you have to find a way to hide that cupola when you are crossing over a ridge. When you are peeking over a ridge, you needed to point the gun up in the sky. But when I did that, I found out that by the time I lay my gun down and aim for the enemies, I'm gonna take the damage anyway, because it takes me quite a long time to lay down my gun and aim my shot. The enemies are gonna have a clear shot on my blister cupola anyway, so I kind of like just completely avoid using the hull down position of this tank anyway. I'm not going to crest over ridges knowing exactly that my blister cupola is going to take a huge hit most of the time. So what I realized is, playing with this tank, that the best thing I can do is actually play kind of like a peekaboo. Either you peek quickly and shoot, or you side scrape. Now this is the Yo tank, which means one of the novelties or one of the gimmicks of this tank is the reserve track. Now, to be honest with you, in actual reality, actual gameplay, the reserve track does not come into play very often. You get tracked maybe once every 3 games. So for me, the way I played, maybe it's because of the way I played, I only make use of that reserve track once every 3 games or something like that. It is not really significant to me at all. Now, as you can see, 53 TP, this is a tier 8 matchmaker, no problem penning me. I didn't check if he hit my blister cupola or he just went through my hull. I wasn't too sure, but here we are in this position. I'm kind of peeking with my cupola here, so I am exposing my blister cupola or my machine gun port or whatever you want to call it. That is my weak spot that is being exposed to the enemy team, but I am trying to snapshot and fire as quickly as possible. We managed to catch this guy out in the open, in the the British heavy tank, and he's taken substantial amount of damage, and I am trying to snipe the cupola of the VK, not the VKP but the Tiger P, and I am trying to fight that 53 TP at the same time. It's pretty difficult to shoot the cupola of the 53 TP because it's kind of flat, kind of small, so I'm not going to say that my chances are going to be good fighting against that 53 TP. But anyway, like I was saying, out of all the new Yo tanks, I find that I like this one the most, and one of the main reasons is because I think this tank actually looks sexy. I like the way the turret is shaped, the way it's slim in the front. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like a decent tank. It looks sexy to me. I would play this tank just because it looks good. But I also feel like this tank is kind of like a balanced tank. In no way is it overpowering. In no way does this tank have like a significant advantage. In fact, the T29 is definitely a better tank than this tank, that's for sure. I would even go to say that the FV, the enemy tank that I was fighting against, that British heavy tank, is a better heavy tank than this one. The FVA45 or whatever, the fast firing heavy tank on the enemy team, I think that's a better tank than this tank. But yeah, I feel like, I don't feel like an asshole when I'm playing this tank. That's what I'm trying to say. This tank is in no way overpowered. I don't feel like a dick when I'm playing this tank. I don't feel like I have a significant advantage. And yeah, it makes me feel like this tank is well balanced and has a good place, in the way the game is set up right now. Now, if I were to fight the FVA 45 right now, 1v1, I would have definitely died. Not the FVA 45, yeah, the FV201 A45. Now, if I had to fight him all by myself, I would have lost to him and died. I was very fortunate that I had the Tiger P on my team, taking up the north side and fighting over the terrain and basically keeping that FV201 at bay. He couldn't push forward. If he did, he would have easily taken care of me, because he could easily hit my blister cupola, or he had a combination of whatever. He could easily take care of me in that situation. I would have definitely lost to him. I was just very fortunate that Tiger P was covering my ass while I was advancing over here, and we are playing peekaboo with the Tiger P. He's trying to camp me out, but I also have another tank on my team that's peeking over, that's keeping him busy. So while he's looking over, I'm going to try and see if I can sneak a shot at him, but 10 degrees of gun depression is not enough for me to peek over, because he has a quick gun traverse. He can quickly turn around and snap at me if he wanted to. So I'm just gonna go the long way around and see if I can shoot at him, and I can, and we finish him off just like that. Done over 1600 damage. Not like the biggest damage, fighting on the north side of the map. This is a tier 8 matchmaker, so I can't be as aggressive as I would like to be, but for a tier 8 matchmaker, I'm doing pretty good. It's okay. If I'm doing 2000 plus damage in a game like this, I'm pretty satisfied with it. And right now we're just cleaning off the last 4 tanks. So there's one RT, a CS, a Kanonenpanzer, and a Super Hellcat somewhere. I'll see if I can get a shot out here. And now I am just waiting for my teammates to spot out the campers in the bush and see if I can squeeze out a couple more shots before they die off. I've got one shot out there, 238 damage, and I'll see if I can get a shot on the CS, and I do, not a problem at all. And I'll see if I can save my last shot, if I can reload in time and finish off the artillery. And yeah, not a bad game. Just over 2295 damage. Not a big deal, but this is my first impression of the tank. And yeah, like I said, out of all the new Yo tanks, this one is my favorite one, because it is a well balanced tank. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.